Cashomaniacs.
GeoGearHeads.
I'm Daryl W4 with the Bad Cop, as usual, back for show 195. You know, and I missed you last week, Bad Cop. I would have had a lot more fun here than with what I was doing, I guarantee that.
Well, Daryl, your thoughts are with me, and I'm going to tell you this podcast already sounds better than it did last week.
My thoughts are with you? Does that mean that I'm, like, sending you, telepathically what we're going to do over the interwebs?
Ooh, telepathically. I like that. Actually, we use a document that we share. It's almost like telepathy, as we can see each other's thoughts as we type them out. But it's really not quite the same.
Yeah, the lag is a little bit more significant than I would like.
I think telepathic lag would be huge. I mean, you've got to really concentrate. I've never seen telepathy work quickly in the movies.
No, and I think, we just don't have that much bandwidth. We need, that Google Fiber so that we can get the increased bandwidth, and then maybe we'd have less latency.
So you're saying with Google Fiber we'd have telepathy?
No, I'm saying with Google Fiber we'd have faster telepathy than we do now.
Oh. No, that's telephony. It's completely different.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, meanwhile, Dano is in the live Q&A of Team Poogatch. Yeah, I finally got enough sleep to stay up for a podcast. Being a dad of a newborn is hard work.
It is. It is. So, Dano, congratulations. And by the way, I caught your show on, caught you on Cash and Release last week. You did a great job. You should get a podcast of your own.
Ooh, yeah, there you go. Give up the YouTube channel, start podcasting. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be the first to have done that.
No.
In any case, we're talking about project-gc.com today. Once again with Magnus. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
And Magnus, so you've caught up on enough sleep to be able to come on a podcast tonight?
Yeah, once again. I'm sitting here in the middle of the night. It's 3 a.m. over here right now. Or 3:13 a.m. But it's quite okay.
Well, you're a stronger man than I am. Now, Daryl, can you believe this is show 195? I mean, we're so close to show 200. That's another one of those big milestones in the podcasting biz.
And I can already predict who's going to be on show 200.
Really?
Yes, I know it. It's like right here. I'm sending it to you now. Did it work?
Cheetos.
No, kind of.
Oh. No, I missed it.
We're pretty close. It's going to be a couple of our favorites who were actually in studio a little while ago. Does that help you out? Or a special patron-only edition?
Hamburger.
Oh, Scott Burks and Shorty Knit.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah,
So they're
see,
going to be on.
telepathy isn't working with me.
And they're big fans of Project-GC too.
And who isn't? I love that. Project-GC.com. Now, before we talk about Project-GC, let's do a little bit of business. For more than 100 shows, we have given away a prize, and we're not going to break that streak tonight. So stay tuned for the end of the show, and no skipping ahead. You got to wait. Now, last week we asked, what was the last episode in which Magnus appeared to talk about Project-GC.com? And we like to have our guests not only provide the proper answer, because, come on, sometimes we don't always know, but we also like them to reveal the winner. So, Magnus, would you be so kind?
Absolutely. I actually looked this up just to check that you knew, so your number was correct. The answer is 166, and the winner is Anti-Hero or Anti-Hero. Not sure how to pronounce it.
I like Anti-Hero because I was watching Heroes Reborn just before the show and didn't get to finish because it's a 2-hour premiere. But
if you watch it backwards, is it Anti-Heroes Unborn?
No, well, and I was kind of surprised because I was under the impression this was going to be a reboot, and it's not. But, that's not what we're here to talk about. But we do want to mention that Anti-Hero, which is what I'm going to go with, picked the 31 Days of Caching Geo Achievement set from coinsandpins.com. So thanks so much for all of those great donations, coinsandpins.com. And we do have a promo code that I can't remember off the top of my head, but we'll make sure to get that out there again next week so people know. But today we have lots of time with, well, not all that much time actually, because we're already more than 5 minutes into the show. But we've got plenty of time to talk about Project GC and get some questions answered. So if you're watching us live, make sure to pipe up in the live Q&A and send those in so that we can get them. And there's a lot of interesting comments coming in from Limax and Dano, which we're not going to necessarily get to because they don't actually pertain to this. But why don't we actually start with the nice long email. Actually, it wasn't that long, but it's going to kind of frame a lot of the discussion tonight. So, Chris, would you care to start off?
Certainly. This comes from Tangent. He wrote in an email. A few items/thoughts for your September 24th show on project-gc.com. I'm a big fan of Project GC and a paid member of their site. So, thank you for that. Number one, he's asked multiple questions here. First one, live map. A good feature now, stellar once they add corrected coordinates and a 0.1 mile radius circle. All in capitals. When do we get these? He asks.
Yeah, I guess that question is for me then. That would make sense, wouldn't it? So, I guess it's why I'm here. So I'm a bit surprised of the question, to be honest, because from all I know, the corrected coordinates is supported by the live map almost fully. As with other maps of Project GC, if you have corrected coordinates that Project GC knows of and understands, it will place the cache icon on the corrected coordinates instead of plotted ones. However, on the live map, you cannot toggle this behavior. On other maps of Project GC, you can turn it on and off. You cannot do that on the live map yet. We will implement it, and it will probably be implemented at the same time as we implement those 0.1 mile radius circles that Tangent is talking about. So when will we do it? Well, it has been a plan almost definitely from the start of the map, and I think it has been the plan to do it within a week for like 1 or 2 months now. So, well, I think I'm a bit too optimistic if I say we'll do it within a week, but I would definitely expect it in 1 to 4 weeks from now.
For those 0.1 mile radius circles, correct?
Yeah, and I think toggling the corrected coordinate should come at the same time. It's not that big of a deal, but it was a quite complex code we had to write last time. It's not really compatible with the live map. It's conflicting with other plugins right now, so we'll have to go through it and look at it again.
And for anyone who's missing the reference, those 0.1 mile radiuses are the proximity circle, so that you know where to hide a cache, or in some cases maybe even like brute force a cache. But the live maps is a new feature since we last talked with you, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, actually, if I would have written Project GC now from scratch, I think everything would have been like this. But when we started on it, we didn't really have the capacity. We weren't that experienced. So all the maps were pretty much based on, I want to do this on this certain region. The live map is more like, well, it's like geocaching.com's map, basically. You look at location, you can pan the map, you get new caches in, and so just like any geocaching application or their own map. But we of course wanted something more, otherwise we wouldn't have done it. And for us, it's about yeah, having corrected coordinates, for example. We want to be able to filter very well, and so on. And the idea has been in our heads for quite a while. We just didn't prioritize it. But then a friend of mine, a personal friend who lives in Stockholm, Sweden, contacted me just after Groundspeak announced their Road Trip 15 and told me that you should make a map where you have the filters to solve those road trip things. For those that don't know it, Groundspeak released 6 or 7 souvenirs this summer, and you need to do different things to earn them. For example, I think the first one was to find a geocache with at least 10 favorite points. So we made our live map like a beta. It wasn't really ready, but we wanted the basics out there. We made these custom filters that would help the users to get those souvenirs a bit more easy. Then we have what do we want the live map to be that's better than the normal maps at geocaching.coms? Basically, it's the same as the rest of the maps at ProjGC. Every cache icon has some indicators in the corners, much like CGeo, for those that are familiar with that. You can see it has, for example, it has an indicator showing that you have a cache note on this one, or you have corrected coordinates, or you have found it, or you own it, and so on. Small icons in the corners that helps you get a more visual view of the map. We also wanted more heavy filters, and that was what we were trying to show with these filters we made for the souvenirs. I don't remember from the top of my head what filters we had, but basically we have the same filtering as Groundspeak have. You can choose which types to see, which sizes to see. You can select that you want to see difficulty between 2 and 4.5, for example. And you can filter on cache name. So, and we're planning more filters, definitely. And one of the big advantages of the live map and the filtering is, for example, if you're a T5 cacher, you want to climb trees or other T5 things, then you can make the T5 filter and you can zoom out quite a lot and see all the T5 caches around you. Personally, that's amazing for me because, well, I hunt T5 quite a lot. There are still some improvements to make. In theory, it works very well, but if you zoom out a lot, let's say look at the whole Germany or like a big part of the United States, your web browser will go very, very slow. Maybe even take, depending on how much you zoom out, it can take an hour. So we have still some improvements to make still, but viewing like 100 kilometers, 60 miles is no problem. It will solve that without any issues at all.
Very cool. And Limax is in the live Q&A, and he says that he wants to climb a tree in a kayak. So do you have any filters to help him with that?
Not on the live map yet. I guess in the future we'll have something like filtering on attributes as well. So then he can try to filter on both tree climbing and boat required, maybe. I guess he will mostly find multi-caches where it's different steps though.
I would think so. All right, the second comment from Tangent was actually a comment, not so much a question. The Grease Monkey / Taper Monkey script to rewrite geocaching.com pages for enhanced output, and I'm assuming that means he really values that function.
Yeah, maybe we should start to try to explain what a Grease Monkey script is then. I won't go into very technical details, but it all started with the plugin for Firefox, or an add-on as we call it, where you can run some JavaScript client-side that runs after you have loaded a page. which can then manipulate the page so it looks differently. Chrome has it built in, but they don't have support for everything we use, so you have to install a plugin called Temper Monkey, which adds the functions that are missing. So what have we done with that? That ID from the start, it was actually presented to me by a friend, and it's the same friend who told me to make the live map filters, so it's a very good friend, or he's good from the community, has a lot of ID or IDs. But the main ID or primary ID was to be able to add into the virtual GPS system from geocaching.com. If you're looking at the cache at geocaching.com and you want to log it later, add it to some specific list, I'll probably have to explain virtual GPS later on as well. But you can select caches at geocaching.com, store them in some form of lists at ProjGC. That was the main purpose. And the whole script became a reality thanks to my friend in Stockholm, Lil Fluren, because it was his ID, and he also wrote the initial concept. I wrote the server side and he wrote the client side. The script was a bit of a mess though, and we weren't experienced with GreaseMonkey at all. So I made a request in the news sections at ProjGC to find someone who could help out. And Surfo from France answered and told me that I can try to clean it up and help out a bit if needed. And thanks to him, it has actually been released and is working great. So I will just vastly mention a few of the things that the script does besides add to virtual GPS. For example, ProjGC has a region and a county assigned to almost every geocache. I say almost because if it's in the middle of the ocean somewhere, middle of Atlantic, it's obviously not in a region. Region is assigned manually by the cache owners for most geocaches. It depends on the country, but ProjGC has region polygons for a lot more countries, and we use polygon data for regions. We don't use what the cache owner actually said, so sometimes it differs. Excuse me, I need to cough. I've had a bad throat for a few weeks, so sorry about that. And then we show the region and the county assigned by ProjGC at geocaching.com. We also add the elevation, so that could be seen. In the last episode here at the GeoGearHeads, we talked about challenge checkers. If a challenge has a challenge checker, it will be added on the right frame at geocaching.com, so the user easily can see it and find it. It adds some links here and there. After the cache owner, it adds a link to his profile stats at ProjGC, a gallery at ProjGC with his images. We make some smaller adjustments to the layout to make it a bit more tidy. I like it more like that. It's not everyone probably. We auto-decode the hints. Above the logs, there is a small frame that shows how many how many logs per type. We add that to the top to the cache data, like some geocaching apps do. We also show what the last 4 logs were, so you can easily see it was 3 DNF and then I found. Okay, maybe I'll skip this one because it might not be in shape. We add the Wilson score from ProjGC and the favorite percent below the current favorite points. And for those that don't know what the Wilson score is, it's statistically calculated favorite points where it's not only like percent. So basically, if you have 99 of 100, it's worth a lot more than if you have 10 of 10. It's a great concept. And most importantly, everything that this script does, you can turn on and off in settings, so you can choose which functions to use. I really recommend this script if you're a heavy ProjGC user. The problem is that we have not really... on my throat again. we have not really written how to install it. So for users that are not used to GreaseMonkey, it's probably pretty hard. We'll try to add some instructions at some point.
Yeah, GreaseMonkey is not the most straightforward tool that I've ever used. Why don't you go grab some water or something, and Chris and I will have a little bit of a conversation about GreaseMonkey, because I remember when we lost the Google Maps on geocaching.com, that
Yes.
was one of the things that a lot of people did, was run a GreaseMonkey script that would replace the geocaching.com maps with the Google Maps.
Right. I did the same thing using TamperMonkey. I prefer Chrome. But yeah, same idea. And there are so many scripts out there that it's really amazing after you're used to using them. You come back and you look at a plain or naked geocaching.com site and you go, wait, where I have all this? Why doesn't it? Oh, that's a script that I've added. I've forgotten it was there because you get so used to using it.
Right. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. There's a number of those scripts, and I've actually disabled GreaseMonkey now. Before I started switching to Chrome, or before I had switched to Chrome as my primary, because I was having so many troubles with things that I needed not being on the web pages anymore. So
Yeah.
I actually dropped it and just went straight, because I had to use too many other computers. But GeoCreddy uses GreaseMonkey script to allow you to log their trackables in and out of geocaching.com caches, and I believe it also works for open caching caches.
Right, I believe it does as well. There's some fabulous scripts out there that will do all sorts of things, but if you're a Project GC user, you're going to want to load this. It's going to really enhance geocaching.com and your Project GC usage.
Absolutely, but this only works on the desktop browsers, of course. It's not going to work on your mobile browsers. Right. All right, Magnus, are you ready to continue on?
I think it's better now. Actually, I had some water here, but meanwhile I could mute and really cough out a bit.
I think we've all been there, and it's not a pleasant situation.
I think we're all there this week, so.
Yeah, probably. All right, Chris, you want to get to the last point from Tangent?
Tangent has the third of 3 points. Have they considered allowing users to enter in lab caches manually, since the geocaching API doesn't include them? All they really needed to be keyed in is date and quantity. I apologize. Date and quantity.
I'm glad that he's aware of that it's an API issue. And the short answer is that yes, we have considered it, definitely. My throat. Oh.
Oh, sorry about
that. The question is, will it happen? I don't know. There are like two sides of the story. Quite a lot of people ask us for it, so it definitely wanted. Some people just don't care because they don't see the lab caches as anything important. They don't care about them. Especially they don't see it as geocaching finds because they don't see it as geocaches. We still haven't decided, and our reason to I can't find the word, but to doubt that it's the correct thing to do is that we prefer that it's fair. So either everyone has the lab caches counted or no one. That's kind of our statement right now. But I think that we will create support for it long term. I just don't know if it will be this year. But I would be surprised if we don't do it the next year.
Well, and I suspect that there's some hesitance too, just because it is still, quote, a beta product, so you don't know what might happen with it in the future and whether it could appear in the API later on.
Yeah, well, we don't know the future of lab caches at all. I don't know if it will stay. I don't know what others think. I don't think Groundspeak has really said anything, but I guess their intention is that it should stay. But I'm not sure. I am thinking about the what's it called? The challenge caches they implemented.
Yeah,
They
the
were
geocaching challenges.
yeah, they really talked about how good they are or were. Everyone wanted them, and they really pushed that for 1.5 years. Then suddenly they were removed.
Yeah, and they never really flushed that one out either, which is part of the reason, I think, for its early demise. But why don't we move on to a question from the live Q&A, and a reminder that if you are watching us live, we would love to get your questions in live Q&A and get you some answers. This one actually came from Limax, who says, every time I go to Project-GC, I have to re-authenticate my account with geocaching.com. Is that because of the timeout at geocaching.com that they put on their API, or is there something else going on?
I don't know. There is a fairly new addition to the API, so the authentication never lasts more than 60 days. I think it's 60 days. Or was it 90? I think we increased it to 90 days. But I assume that the 90-day timeout isn't the issue here. I've heard this from a few users actually, maybe 5 or so. I've not managed to figure anything out. It will be interesting to know if it's an issue on more than one computer, more than one browser, get some data like that. Because we are not really doing anything to lose those tokens. Or not that we know of, at least. And
well, Magnus, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I can say it happens to me on Google Chrome. At least once a week I have to go re-authenticate Project GC to geocaching.com.
Okay.
Now, I block all cookies. I don't know if that's an issue or not.
It shouldn't be. I know that Groundspeak had an issue where when you were using geocaching.com in a language other than English. They should have fixed it, but I'm not sure. Maybe there's something more, because from those I've heard from, it seems to be more common that it's people using German than English. But I don't have the facts, to be honest.
It's not a big issue. But it is there. So.
Yeah, I actually have to re-authenticate myself sometimes, but for me it's maybe once per month or so. And I don't know what I have, 8 devices logged in maybe. I have a tablet, I have a phone, I have 2 web browsers I use regularly in my desktop computer, then I have my laptop and so on. So, we're not doing anything different for different users, so it really surprises me.
Well, interesting.
Well, the short answer is that I don't really know, but we would love to get some more data about it, like what browsers are using. Is it an issue with more than one computer and so on?
Very good. Well, we have more live Q&A. This one is from Wet Coaster. He says, are there any plans on adding open caching listings? And he's not referring to the old Garmin site. He's referring to the open caching network.
This will be a short and easy answer. There are no such plans, and
Okay.
I don't think we'll ever do it, actually.
All right.
Well, I'm trying to elaborate, but we made that statement from the beginning. We're hoping to get a closer cooperation with Groundspeak. We don't see the open caching as something that actually has a huge fan base or so, but there are definitely no plans of it. Everything could happen in the future, but I can almost promise it won't happen the closest 2 years.
All right. We got a couple of questions about the paid memberships. The first one came from Sydney via the Google Plus event for this recording, and she asked, what are the benefits of having a paid account? Meanwhile, Team Pugach asked in the live Q&A, I know it's been mentioned before, but can we get a quick cliff notes of the difference between the paid and free accounts on Project GC? And that was something that we talked pretty extensively about on the last show on 166.
Yeah, please go back to and listen to 166. But I will also try to answer it, though it will be a bit shorter answer than last time, because last time we spent almost an hour discussing all the features and what you could do. But basically, in the home menu, you have a membership item. In there is a bullet list of everything that differs between paid and the free account. It's like one sentence about every feature, so it doesn't say everything. But I would also like to recommend activating the trial account that you can do on the same page. It's a 10-day trial available for everyone. You can activate it like once per year or so. So even if you activated it, I think it's every 10th month you can activate it. So if you had it activated 1 year ago and want to try it again now, feel free to do it. But about the functions then, in my opinion, the strongest function is our virtual GPS system. We talked a lot about it on the last show. Oh, yeah, last show, 166 then, the last show I attended. And I really recommend that you listen to it. We also have a few or 2 movies showing it at the project-gc.com/YouTube. One of them is named Planning Geocaching Trips with ProjGC or something like that. I don't remember the name of the other one, but that's one in Swedish. So I guess the English one is the one to listen to. It's for the old VGPS system though, but it's mostly interface that looks differently. I think you will understand by seeing the movie anyway. But in short, the virtual GPS system is like a shopping cart. Every time you do anything at ProjGC, you look at the top list or you look at the map, you can cherry pick geocaches into this shopping cart, and then later on you can build a GPX from that. It's the only way I geocache myself, more or less. But the most popular reason to become a member is probably the daily updates to the profile stats. It's like some form of entry for almost all our users. They find the profile stats, they like the statistics, they like the looks, and they mostly like that it's automatically generated. They don't have to do anything. But for free members, we're only generating it once per week. Paying members get generated once per day. Then we have some notifiers that I personally think is quite interesting. You can set up a bit more advanced notifiers about events close to you. The idea behind them is that you probably want to know about all events within like 10 kilometers, 5 miles or something. Events that are a bit further away is only interesting if we have a decent amount of wheel attempts. So at ProjGC you can set up rules that says if an event has at least 100 wheel attempts, then I want to know about it as long as it's this close. That's how I find events, and I like that concept. Then we have notifiers about if edited logs is what we call it. If someone has logged a geocache of yours, maybe just write something like found it, edit later. Then as a cache owner, you never see that edit because you don't really go into the geocaches all the time and look. But ProjGC will detect the changes and send you an email when it has been edited. We also can email out if you have gotten favorite points, either removed or added to geocaches. And then we have just added a new feature called notifier log images, which basically sends you images in an email that has been attached to a log. And we'll try to get back to that topic later, actually. Then we have the auto challenge checkers, which we also talked about a lot on the last episode I attended. It's PartGC has small scripts that can tell you if you have completed a challenge or not. For members, we're continuously calculating all the checkers that we have in our database to tell you if you have succeeded or not. And then on the maps, we will show you this. So when you look at the challenge cache, you'll already on the map know that, oh, this is something I fulfill. For basic members or non-paying members, you can only run 10 checkers per day. As a paying member, you can run as many as you want. Showing corrected coordinates on the maps is also something we do for the paying members only. Yes. And of course, we have removed all ads. Ads is only for those who don't pay. Yeah, well, that's the points I have in my head and that I really like. Then there are some more, so please take a look at the membership page and you will notice it.
Well, in that notifier or notify log images feature that you were just mentioning is something that really sounded intriguing to me because I just haven't had a chance to really go back and check it out. But recently I had someone post a rather significant spoiler image on the cache page for one of mine. So that really does sound like a cool feature. Can you go a little bit more into that?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, there are two issues with log images. Maybe you have some container that is handcrafted, really hard to find. Maybe it's like a D4 traditional. Then you don't want someone posting an image of how the container looks and exactly where they found it. That really sucks as a cache owner. And the problem is, as geocaching.com works, a cache owner will never know that someone has uploaded a picture like that. The second problem is if someone has taken a photo of a mystery cache, a cache that isn't located at its plotted coordinates. Most people today takes photo with their mobile phones, smartphones, which has GPS devices, and they also geotag images. So you can actually look at the data in the image and know that, okay, this image has been photoed at these coordinates. And that isn't too nice to the cache owner either, if there's a photo telling you where the final location is. So we released a new notifier system for this to solve these two problems. I am not sure when we did it, maybe it's 1 or 2 weeks ago. We added it to the web. We still consider it being beta. We have not announced it fully yet. We did a post on Facebook, and I think we had like 150, 200 signups for it the first 24 hours. So a lot of people want to try it at least. I checked earlier today, and we have 470 users who has enabled it right now. And what does it do then? Well, basically, every time PartGC detects that there's an image uploaded to one of your geocaches, it will process, or once per day, it will create an email, show you what cache it is, like GC code, cache name, what type it is, and such. And then it will attach the image so you can see it in the email. And if the image is geotagged, it will write the coordinates of that geocache or of that image, and it will write it if you have corrected coordinates on your own geocache. PartGC will write those as well, and it will tell you distance. Depending on the type of geocache, it will be more clear that it's a warning. For example, if it's traditional, you probably don't care if they have produced the coordinates in the image, so it's only written in black. But if it's a mystery cache, it will be bold and red and really in your eyes. If one enables this feature, that user will get all the images that has ever been uploaded to his or her caches in one mail for the first mail. Then after that, you will get once per day when there has been images uploaded. It's still considered beta, as I said, and basically we only know about one issue, and it's that the image links aren't always working as they're supposed to. I don't know why, because we are linking, the links are correct, but it's like they are not uploaded to the CDN yet or something. We'll have to investigate this a bit deeper. Maybe it's, yeah, I don't know. But it's only a thumbnail, so if you click it, it all seems to always work.
Interesting. I've noticed a few issues with the last couple of releases of the browsers, and I'm wondering if there's something that's been going on there. Meanwhile, Limax in the live Q&A said if he becomes a hider, this sounds like a great feature.
Yeah, well, you should hide some caches. It's fun. Or sometimes it's fun. It's not so fun to receive a TFTC, but sometimes you get really nice logs as well.
How true that is. Now, Magnus, could you tell us how Project GC can be used as an alternative for building pocket queries at geocaching.com? You know, especially those with special features like the challenge cache and all their requirements.
Yeah, we're almost falling back to episode 166 again, and the virtual GPS system, because this was basically, or from the start, ProGC was all about statistics, but then I realized I want to bring this further. I had a really hard time geocaching myself because I just couldn't log everything, and I couldn't find what I wanted to log, and most of all, I couldn't create a I couldn't create a pocket query at geocaching.com of geocaches that I wanted to log, because the only way to do it was to create a pocket query of everything around me. So what we wanted to do with ProGC was to create this virtual GPS system, which is basically bookmark lists or something. So wherever you are at ProGC, you can add caches into these lists and later on build a GPX file, download and import into your Garmin or smartphone or whatever. You can use it, combine it with our challenge checker maps or challenge maps, where you see only challenge caches, and you can select a quite big area, for example, and add all the caches in that area, like using circles or polygons. You can add from top lists. Yeah, I don't know if I should go into it any deeper. What do you think?
You know, I think you covered it well. I mean, there are challenge checkers that will go through and let you know, oh, you need, you know, these caches to complete this challenge. But, you know, I think episode 166 covered it well. I agree with you.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, you should take a look at the video called Planning Your Geocaching Trip with ProGC as well. It's located at project-gc.com/YouTube.
Yeah, and there are a lot of great features in the virtual GPS, and it gives you stuff that you can't do at geocaching.com, and that's really the big thing. It's not really necessarily a replacement for geocaching.com, but a nice complement, and it goes above and beyond what you can do over there.
I would say it's almost a replacement, actually. The only thing I personally do at geocaching.com is to actually log my find logs.
Yeah,
I don't do it.
Certainly could use it as a replacement, but it is not. It is not necessarily. You know, it's not the same. You know, and who knows what they're going to do over at geocaching.com too with the new search engine and what they're talking about with those. But the functions that you have go so much beyond what geocaching.com does, and that's really what I was trying to get at. Is geocaching.com gives you that point or the route file, and you can do that, of course, at projectgc.com, but it's so much more that you have with project-gc.com that you can do.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a different approach. I think for the casual geocacher, geocaching.com is perfect. It's easy to understand, you see everything around you. But for a more advanced geocacher who is looking for specific DTs and the hidden mounts and everything like that, you need to be able to cherry pick and filter, and then I think ProjGC is the ultimate tool. That's my honest opinion.
Right. Now, we did get a question in from OBeep that's very relevant here. They want to know if you have to have the Pocket Query set up and then bring it into Project GC.
No. ProjGC has a live connection to geocaching.com, and we also have a lot of cache data. So you cherry pick the caches at ProjGC. They are exist in a list at ProjGC. Then you tell ProjGC to build a GPX file. It will give you an estimate of a time, and when it's done, it will send you an email.
And then we also have a comment from Limax. Project-GC and GSAC are my favorite tools for planning my caching days.
Thank you.
And they're very similar tools, yet very different. And the thing that I like best about Project GC is that it doesn't require a PC.
No.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you can do all this on a tablet.
Well, and on more than one occasion, I've actually taken like a note of a bunch of different trackable numbers, and just on the phone, gone and copy paste and done the whole discovery tool there. Just it's so easy to do that.
In all honesty, I think GSAC is a lot more powerful. Actually, you can do a lot more with it. But I think ProjGC is a bit simpler and easier, and most of all, it has the data. You don't have to import GPX files like you have to do with GSAC.
Right. Or, they do a lot of that now in GSAC with the live API, but, OBeep just piped up with another comment that is exactly what I was thinking, too. It's great to have the functionality on the Mac, too, not just the tablet, but, GSAC is Windows only. And I actually do have one of the Windows tablets, but it's just, that Windows tablet doesn't have enough horsepower to properly handle GSAC, so it takes, I think, like 3 minutes almost to open up.
Mm.
So this is all handled in the cloud, so it's nice and fast.
Yeah. And I tell you, Project GC does everything that I want to do in GSAC. So I don't find I'm missing GSAC at all.
Absolutely. And if you are looking for things like the challenge checkers, go back to 166 when we went over that, but there are, you do have the ability to go and create the challenge checkers for your own challenge caches too.
Yes, you do.
All right, so that is actually right around their time frame that we wanted to hit, so we can go on for hours, I'm sure, but at nearly 4 in the morning over there, we want to let you get some sleep.
Oh, I'm not tired anymore. That was 2 hours ago.
Beyond tired now.
Well, make sure everyone who's still with us and those who are listening later to stay, because we have 100-day membership to Project GC coming up in just a moment if you answer the question right, and we'll have that information, like I said, in a moment. Right now, we've got to thank all of the patrons, because there's the people who make this show possible. They're the ones who financially support the show. They help give us some motivation. We just had a great hangout with them on Tuesday. Just a lot of fun to get together. Chris, we really didn't talk too much about geocaching on that episode.
We talk about life, and it's just an opportunity to get to know our patrons in a more intimate one-on-one setting where we can talk to them, they can talk back to us, because we're sitting here talking to them right now and hearing very little back. So it's nice to have that two-way dialogue, and that's what we do in these hangouts.
Yeah, and we also have some other fun things that we've done from time to time, like our patron travel bug race. And we didn't get to talk about the travel bug hotel that was the destination having gone missing for a little bit there. Yeah, so that was No, that was a little bit of an ordeal, but fortunately the Travel Bug Hotel has been replaced, and we have travelers well on the way. And I promise I will get around to putting a link to the TB Run page on our geocaching.com website. But in the meantime, thanks again to all of our patrons for their support. We really appreciate it. And to everyone who supports the show in any way, even spreading the word, because we really need to get the word out there to get more people listening and give them all of the great tips and information that we do on every GeoGearHeads episode.
That's right. Daryl, thanks for saying that. Now, you know what? We give you all this information for free. And we want you to win even more prizes. So get your email ready for another easy question. And this time you'll get one of those 100-day paid memberships to project-gc.com. So you can take full advantage of all the goodness that we just talked about today, and even more that we didn't even get to. Now, that email needs to be titled Question 196, and it needs to be received at GeoGearHeads at CacheManiacs.com by 6 p.m. Pacific, that's 9 p.m. Eastern, on September 30th. In the body, tell us the name of West Bend's GeoTour according to their visitwestbend.com website and your geocaching.com screen name. Have all 5 of those words with your GeoNick to GeoGearHeads at CacheManiacs.com with the title Question 196, and you will be entered into the drawing for that membership to project-gc.com, courtesy of project-gc.com. So thank you, Magnus, for that prize, and good luck to all the GeoGearheads in the drawing.
Well, and we do have a whole bunch of great shows coming up, and of course, that question leads into next week's guest. We're going to be talking community partnerships with Craig Farrell of the West Bend Chamber, who's famous for the West Bend Cache Bash and now also for that GeoTour. Then on the 8th, we're going to be talking with a couple of favorite geocachers who I'm not going to leak their names out now, even though I had before, about caching solo. And of course, we have another randomized show coming up on the 15th. So make sure to send in all of your little questions, comments, stories, anything like that, because it's going to be randomized 38. And I just might mention also that I've already booked Randomize XL, so keep an eye out for that one. Then episode...
I can do that math in my head.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah. It's a secret. It's XL. It's XL. It's an extra large randomized edition.
Exactly.
And then 199 is going to be GPS are picking.
Is that where you go out to the fields and you pick a fresh GPS?
No. This is where you take your GPS out in the fields and you play music on it.
Oh, okay.
It's like a string instrument, yeah. So that's going to be a good show for anyone looking at potentially getting a GPSR or replacing one that you've got right now, or any of that kind of stuff. Then I'm really excited because on 200, we already teased this earlier, we've got Scott Burks and Shortiness returning to talk about all kinds of things, including how they use Project-GC when they're planning road caches. So make sure to check out all of those great episodes, and you can get that complete list with all of the links, including a time zone converter, at geogearheads.com/upcoming.
I want to convert my time zone. But what we want you to do is check the Cachemaniacs website at cachemaniacs.com for more on the GeoGearHeads, including show notes for this and all our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by calling 206-350-3647, by emailing geogearheads at cachemaniacs.com, or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cachemaniacs shows coming, so please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cachemaniacs shows. GeoGearHeads is produced by Chris Umfenauer and Daryl Wattenberg. The show's copyright 2015 by Daryl Wattenberg. All rights reserved.
Cache with the Cachemaniacs.